Welcome to the PWX Update Desk. Coming up in this half hour, Chris Shore, the voice of PWX, will join me over the phone. Shore has major announcements regarding the June 29th iPay-per-view spectacular, It's All About Me, as well as information on a PWX TV deal, and as if that wasn't enough, live event dates in July. Apparently, PWX is coming to the coast of North and South Carolina. Then joining me in studio, Kick to Kill Cedric Alexander. We will talk about his victory at A Hunt for Gold over Kyle O'Reilly and look ahead to his dream match against Jay Lethal June the 29th in Concord. Lastly, I will debut a new commentary segment here on the Update Desk, the highs and lows from A Hunt for Gold. It's a brave new world for your premier wrestling experience, and I'm here to map it out for you. I'm Craig Veltri, and the PWX Update Desk starts right now. This is the PWX Update Desk for the week ending in June the 8th, 2013. I'm Craig Veltri. Last week, A Hunt for Gold in Charlotte saw the revitalization of the PWX Tag Team Division. Another shape-shifting title defense from Caleb Konley, Cedric Alexander correcting course, and Corey Hollis coming unglued. All these developments will be built upon June the 29th, when your premier wrestling experience returns to the Cabarrus Arena in Concord, North Carolina for the Internet Pay-Per-View Spectacular, It's All About Me. For more on this blockbuster event of the summer, among many other pertinent issues, we turn to the disembodied voice of PWX. Chris Shore joins me over the phone. Shore, welcome back to the Update Desk.
Thank you for having me on again, Craig. It's a real treat to do this.
Well, thank you very much for coming on. Let's get right to the meat and potatoes of this thing here. I understand that the PWX Tag Team titles will be defended once again in unique fashion on June the 29th. What can you tell us about that match?
Well, we of course crowned unique champions in John Schuyler and the Man Scout Jake Manning just a couple of weeks ago, and we will be possibly crowning new champions. There's a lot up in the air with this show coming up here in late June, June 29th on iPay-per-view. Jake Manning and John Schuyler are slated to defend their PWX Tag Team Championships in a four-way match against three teams, one of which reprising itself from the innovative tag title tournament that we just had.
Oh, yes.
One team that did not want to be split up in the tag title tournament, but was, and a brand new team as well. American Tiger and Andrew Everett, who we dubbed American Airlines, will be one of the four teams taking on Jake Manning and John Schuyler, the young team, high flyers. Very interesting team, an explosive team offensively. Got to watch out for those guys. Worst case scenario, and their new representative, the Tommy Thomas, who of course got in the face of Steve Carino, our broadcast partner, during Live with Steve Carino.
So disrespectful.
Well, he has decided that his team, the only real tag team, as they put it, in PWX, is going to be the new tag team champions. And our first look at a new team, it is Darren Dean and Aaron Solo. Howie 31 is the name of the team, and they are making their PWX debut. It's going to be a tough road to hoe for our new tag team champions, Jake Manning and John Schuyler. And as far as we know, Craig, John Schuyler won't actually be there. He's supposed to be in England at that time.
Yes.
So I have no idea what Jake Manning is going to do with those three things.
Do you have any inclination if he's been looking for a new partner, or do you get the sense that he might just go at it alone?
Well, Jake Manning is a warrior, and he's a guy that will go out there. He has promised to defend those titles no matter what John Schuyler decides he's going to do. So if I had to guess right now, I don't have a great feeling either way, but if I had to guess right now, if he's not able to get his old partner back out, and of course that would be Grizzly Redwood, the team that was the great outdoors, the great tag team there in PWX, former tag team champion. Grizzly has moved on to other things in his life, I think, and if Jake can't find somebody like that he can trust and depend on, especially with the way John Schuyler treated him at the end of the championship tournament, my guess is that Jake Manning goes out there alone.
Well, let's talk about June 29th a little more in length. Already announced that major cage match for the PWX title, Caleb Konley defending against wrestling's worst nightmare, Kevin Steen, a return match from enemy territory back in March. Also, Cedric Alexander will go up against Jay Lethal in what Cedric Alexander himself has been reported as saying is a dream match. We'll have Cedric Alexander on in a couple of minutes. But let me ask you, who else have you heard is going to be at this event?
Well, I know for a fact that all three our third title, is a better way to say it, our third title, the Innovative TV title, the ITV title, Chip Day, our current champion, he will defend that title against Trevor Lee. We haven't seen Trevor Lee in PWX in quite some time. He's looking to make a name for himself as he comes back in to face Chip Day.
No.
In addition to that, we also have Mr. Elite Drew Myers, the guy who was pinned by Amanda Rodriguez in the first round of the tag title tournament. He will be taking on Kyle O'Reilly, the guy who came up short against Cedric Alexander during that tournament as well. I know both of these guys are going to be looking to avenge their losses. Kyle O'Reilly getting back on the right track after that loss to Cedric. And, of course, Mr. Elite Drew Myers looking to wipe off, I'm sure, what is probably an embarrassing loss for him to Amanda Rodriguez. And then Zane Riley, the party animal, will be back live for our crowd to have a good time with, and he is going to step into the ring with Billy Brash, a young man who is, well, I mean, his name says it all. He's very brash. It's going to be interesting when those two personalities collide.
Well, not to mention Joey Nuggs raising the bounty on Zane Riley at the last show to $10,000. It keeps going up, and so is the risk for the party manimal anytime he steps into a PWX venue. Now, sure, I understand that you had the scoop on a PWX TV deal this past Sunday on the update desk. We had the footage of that until somebody decided to wreck our equipment. So let's try this again. PWX owner Tyshawn Williams announced in-ring a TV deal has been reached with the CW network. What can you tell us specifically about this deal?
Well, very quickly, I don't want to leave the ladies out, especially Amanda Rodriguez after she had such a great title run, or tag title tournament run with Chip Day. She is also in action, teaming with Amy Love against Amber O'Neal and Santana Garrett. So it's a Divas tag match during that June 29th show as well. It's going to be a great pay-per-view.
Absolutely. Supermodel Amy Love.
You are absolutely correct. Starting Saturday, July 6th, Midnight Mayhem presents Pro Wrestling Experience. We will be live, or excuse me, not live, but on TV every Saturday night on CW21 at midnight. CW21 is carried in stations across both North Carolina and South Carolina. In North Carolina, you can see it in cities like Rockingham, Hamlet, Lumberton, and Whitesville. In South Carolina, Myrtle Beach, and Myrtle Beach proper, of course, North Myrtle Beach, Conway, Florence, those sorts of towns around Myrtle Beach, as well as Charleston, Georgetown, and Andrews, South Carolina. We will be expanding very soon into Columbia, South Carolina, and even parts of Georgia. And I know fans are listening to this going, but wait, we live in Charlotte. We didn't hear Charlotte mentioned there.
I'm certainly...
How are we going to be able to see this? Well, I promise you, fans, we are going to make sure that every single one of these episodes of Midnight Mayhem is going to be available for you on both highspots.tv and pwxpro.com, absolutely free. We'll be posting those up after they air on the CW21. It is an exciting time to be part of PWX.
Absolutely, man. I'm jumping for joy. We're going to be TV stars, sure. Anyway, we alluded to Corey Hollis in that line of questioning earlier. I understand that PWX management has taken drastic actions for Hollis's behavior last Sunday. What do you know about that?
Yeah, I got a phone call Thursday afternoon letting me know that they had seen the altercation between you and Corey Hollis and how we lost all of that great footage that we were able to shoot on location there at Tremont Music Hall. Such a shame that all of that footage was wasted. But PWX management has decided that Corey Hollis needs some time to cool off. And so effective immediately, he is suspended from PWX. He does not have a match on that June 29th show. He will not be there. He is suspended indefinitely until management has decided that he has calmed down and can be a part of this roster again. And quite frankly, I don't blame him. His actions were inexcusable. Putting his hands on you, tearing up the equipment, there's no need for that.
Well, we'll certainly recap that and more in the highs and lows to close the show. That's Chris Shore, voice of PWX, writer of the Shore Slant on ProWrestling.net, and author of the ebook, The Following is a Dark Match, available on Amazon.com and wherever you may find electronic publications. Thanks again, Shore.
Thank you so much.
Still to come, who ate it and who fed it at a hunt for gold. You'll get my perspective in the highs and lows coming up. But first, Cedric Alexander has regained his aim and appears locked in on Jay Lethal June the 29th at Cabarrus Arena in Concord. Kick to Kill joins me in studio next. For more information on your premier wrestling experience, visit our website, www.pwxpro.com, and follow us on Twitter at PWXWrestling1. Thanks for staying with us on the update desk. Cedric Alexander has become a new man in 2013. Still as athletic as ever, but more built and more aggressive. Coming off a huge win at a Hunt for Gold, Kick to Kill, joins me in studio. Cedric, welcome to the update desk.
Hey, how you doing, Craig?
Now, you said back in February at Rise of a Champion 8, oddly enough, my first appearance on PWX TV.
You were alive back then?
I'm 27 years old, I hope
Really?
so.
You look like you're 8.
I'll take that as a compliment. You said, and I quote, "I am now on a mission to show the wrestling world and the PWX world that Cedric Alexander is one of the best professional wrestlers in the world."
That is true.
Now, well, I guess I'll pose that in a question then. How well do you feel that you've accomplished that just in those 4 months?
I think the fans can answer that better than I can. If you go back and you look at every single show that we've had at PWX, every time the fans leave, whose match are they talking about?
Yours. Certainly last week we were talking about it.
I think that says it right there.
Well, in terms of wins and losses, I would say that it kind of looks like a flow chart from a financial institution that's kind of on shaky ground.
Okay. I will admit that I had some issues with my focus. I was veering left to right, and not having that television that I needed. But I think after my match with Kyle O'Reilly, I am strictly tunnel vision right now, and I know exactly what I need to do to get on top of here in PWX. You know, breaking people's hands, that don't do it. Winning ITV championships don't do it. Breaking people's noses, that's obviously still don't do it. But getting big wins over big names seems to work just fine.
Where you mentioned this, you lost your focus. Where was that focus at in those last 2 months?
I don't know. But I know for a fact that after I came back from my ITV loss to Chip Day, that it was back. It was back in full force because when you look at the match that me and Caleb had with the Briscoes.
Oh, yeah, so at Shenanigans last month.
Shenanigans. I knew exactly what I needed to do to get the job done. Caleb, he didn't. See, let me explain the difference between Caleb and myself. The best way to put this is, you'll like this one.
Okay.
When Caleb sees a deer, he sees Bambi.
Okay.
When I see a deer, I see antlers on my wall. See what I'm saying? You get it?
I don't necessarily agree with that sentiment, considering I saw the match that he had last week against Davey Richards. But since we're on the subject of Caleb Konley, he said on the update desk 2 weeks ago that we've all noticed a change in you, not just in your physical appearance, but in your much more aggressive attitude.
Yeah.
Caleb went a step further in saying that there was some distance. You've become distant between you and him. Can you affirm that?
I don't say we've been distant. We still train together. We still hang out every once in a while. But like I said, the difference between Caleb and myself, I'm more focused than he is right now. You know, he's the champion. He's the pretty boy. Girls love him. His nice, blonde streaks in his hair and all that kind of stuff. And I've always told Caleb I wasn't a fan of that. He knows that, but he loves to do it because that makes him pretty. That makes the girls love him and all that stuff. I'm in this to win matches, not win fans. No offense, guys. I love you, but I'm trying to win matches.
Well, you won a big one last week against Kyle O'Reilly. Talk to me about wrestling this amazing grappler with Davey Richards marks all over him. He's just an impressive talent. It is a huge win. Put me in the ring with Kyle O'Reilly through your eyes.
See, wrestling Kyle O'Reilly is like being in the ocean and wrestling a shark with one hand tied behind your back. Oof. You have
That's accurate.
It's impossible because he will take any opening you give him and exploit it. See, I knew for a fact going into this that I can't grapple with Kyle. I'm going to have to hit him hard. And I did that. The Brainbuster solidified it, and that's how I got the
It was an impressive victory, and it leads us to June the 29th. It's all about me at the Cabarrus Arena in Concord, North Carolina. A match that you have been quoted as saying is a dream match.
It is.
You and Jay Lethal. To anybody who has watched Jay Lethal in the ring, this is a man that took Kevin Steen to the limit in Chicago 2 months ago. Okay, yes, and well, let me ask you this about Jay Lethal then. Mm-hmm. Why is it would be a nightmare for the novice wrestler. Why is it such a dream for you?
Well, you just said it. For a novice wrestler, I am obviously not a novice wrestler.
Very true.
I've been around for a short time, And I've done some things. I've done some stuff. But Jay's been around forever.
Yes.
And I've been dying for a chance versus Jay Lethal. Ever since I was a fan, I've been dying to have this happen. And now that I have my first ever one-on-one match with Jay Lethal, I'm not only going to beat Jay Lethal, but I'm going to put him down.
Well, that's a bit strong, but I wouldn't expect anything less from a man.
I'm strong, man.
I wouldn't expect anything less from Kick to Kill Cedric Alexander. Kick to Kill, thank you very much for joining me on the Update Desk.
You're welcome.
Coming up next, the highs and lows from A Hunt for Gold. I think this man might be mentioned. Stick around. Finally, as promised, a new commentary segment here on the Update Desk. The highs and lows. After every major PWX show, I'd like to praise the 2 or 3 athletes for their performance and character, a high award, and then call out the 1 or 2 athletes that deserve to be criticized for a lack of character, a low award. This is not an official award sanctioned by Premier Wrestling Experience, nor does it necessarily reflect the views of your Premier Wrestling Experience. This is just the analysis of your humble correspondent. If you, the men and women mentioned today, find fault with this or any of my past or future analyses, the address to the studio is available upon request. I'm not that hard to get in touch with, and we'd be glad to have you here on the Update Desk. So, pack away your prospecting tools, and let's give out the highs and lows for A Hunt for Gold. See what I did there? That's a gold digging joke anyway. Starting with the highs, and it doesn't get any higher in this company than the PWX champion, the Midnight Sun, Caleb Konley. Not only did Caleb Konley successfully defend his title, not only did he pick up a second consecutive victory over Davey Richards, he did something that my colleagues and I struggle to find another instance of. Konley made Richards submit. I would like to repeat that because if you weren't at Tremont Music Hall this past Sunday, I doubt you'd believe your ears. Caleb Konley made Davey Richards submit to the capture crab otherwise known as the O-face. That hold has always been an automatic checkmate. All of your limbs are tangled up as such that the only way to break the hold is to power out, which is easier said than done, I'm sure, or to say to the referee, "Get this guy off of me, I might die." But Davey Richards, one of the toughest, most intense wrestlers this side of Taz, struck me as the kind of guy that would sooner pass out from the pain rather than give Konley that feather in his cap, as Shore referred to the victory. Chris Shore, the voice of PWX. Add together emphatic victories over Rhett Titus and Adam Cole, and Caleb Konley's resume continues to look like that of a future legend. If he can win the cage match June the 29th at the Cabarrus Arena over Kevin Steen in front of a worldwide internet pay-per-view audience, it will solidify him as one of the hottest rising stars on the indie scene. So keep on burning, Midnight Sun. Hope to see you in studio before June the 29th. Moving on to Cedric Alexander, we just talked in decent length about his match with Kyle O'Reilly, so I really won't belabor the match. It was everything as advertised, and Cedric Alexander is back to his winning ways. I always close my commentaries facetiously saying that I'm always right. The truth is, I may get it right every once in a while. A long once in a while. Clearly, picking Kyle O'Reilly left me 1 for 2 in my forecast picks for A Hunt for Gold. But I meant it when I said that Cedric Alexander is a future champion. A victory over Jay Lethal at It's All About Me should certainly garner him serious consideration for a PWX title shot. And lastly, it's plain to anyone with any common sense that the big winner of the night was the PWX tag team division as a whole. I must admit I was a little skeptical going into this random drawing tag team tournament. After all, a tournament like this hadn't been reported in professional wrestling in over 6 years. Not to mention, Ethan Case, one half of the worst case scenario, brought up a valid point here on the Update Desk. What will this mean for teams like worst case scenario in an admittedly thin tag team division? Well, the best case scenario played out. Teams were picked out of the hat, planted in the ring, and left the fans saying, let's see more of those guys together. Specifically, the American Tiger and the artist formerly known as Chiva, Andrew Everett, collectively dubbed by Chris Shore and Steve Corino as American Airlines. I'll let you figure out how that name came about. Another potentially beautiful relationship, as Bogart would put it, occurred with the drawing of Crash Smith and Blaine Rage. Here you have 2 men, chiseled and sculpted as humanly possible, looked like two of a kind and looked like they wrestled and been teaming together for the last 3 years, at least. And Amanda Rodriguez, she certainly deserves an honorable mention for not only hanging tough, but making her way to the finals with her partner ITV Championship Day. He will be mentioned later on in this commentary, along with the ending of that matchup. And for the fans that think they know what we do behind the scenes, but have never been behind the scenes, and could never dream about what goes on behind the scenes, I can assure you that Chris Shore and I did not conduct the random drawing like a magic act. We did not load the helmet with setup cards. We did not give any previous instruction to the people we asked to draw from the helmet, and we did not misdirect or use any sleight of hand. To put it plainly, that bracket was being formed with no pretense or BS right before your very eyes. This tournament was the most fun I've had covering a wrestling event in my career so far. It was unpredictable, it was entertaining, and the ending was unforgettable. Though mostly for the wrong reasons. Which brings us to the low portion of my awards, starting with John Schuyler, the self-proclaimed Southern Savior. Though he and Jake Manning became the PWX Tag Team Champions, his conduct throughout the tournament, especially the ending, deserves serious scrutiny. It was the most unlikely pairing of the tournament. You have the man scout, Jake Manning, in many ways the heart of PWX. In his corner, John Schuyler, a man who is unapologetically in it for himself and doesn't mind throwing ethics out the window to further his career or earn him an extra buck. The man scout, always willing to be the sportsman, made it a point to try and shake hands with John Schuyler as a sign of honor and team unity at the conclusion of the first two matches. Schuyler refused each time. Which brings us to the finals of the tournament, Manning and Schuyler versus Chip Day and Amanda Rodriguez. Schuyler manhandled Rodriguez throughout the match, as Manning pleaded and even scolded Schuyler to stop being so rough. It was a warning that went unheard, as John Schuyler superkicked Rodriguez, then pinned her for the 1-2-3. Manning confronted Schuyler after the match, obviously disgusted by the display, as anyone that was raised right should be. Manning extended his hand one more time to Schuyler. Confirming the old adage involving insanity, Schuyler attacked his partner with the PWX Tag Team title belt. I know this business is cutthroat, and I'm not so naive to think that men like Schuyler will never get ahead. He's smart enough and talented enough to become a big star in this business. But it makes me sick to think that a man like him could get ahead at the expense of someone as good-natured as Amanda Rodriguez. Manning appears to be a one-man troupe with those belts, and he and Schuyler are scheduled to defend in a 4-team match at It's All About Me. Slight problem, as Chris Shore and I discussed in the first segment, John Schuyler is headed for England on a 3-month tour. We'll see if Manning, who gets a most honorable mention for his performance, will get another partner or go it alone on June the 29th. As an aside, Chip Day gets a dishonorable mention for berating Rodriguez and putting hands on her after losing the match. And you knew this one was coming. Corey Hollis. You saw what he did last week to the Update Desk, and what you may not have seen unless you saw Hunt for Gold live was how Hollis conducted himself during the entire event. After randomly being drawn into a team with Mr. Wrestling 3, Hollis practically mailed in his performance in the opening match, a losing effort against American Airlines. Hollis wasn't done, obviously. Upset about Kevin Steen getting a title rematch inside a steel cage on June the 29th, Hollis came to the ring, confronted Caleb Konley, and demanded a title match, as if Konley has anything to say about those affairs. When Konley again tried to explain to Hollis that Steen is next in line, Hollis slapped Konley in the face and left the ring. And then, well, you saw what happened last week. I don't really feel the need to tell you again. Watch last week's episode to relive the whole fiasco. As a result of his childish behavior, Corey Hollis has been suspended and will not be a part of It's All About Me. Hollis, you can continue this fool's errand until you find yourself no longer a part of PWX. Or you can chill out, wrestle like the champion I know you can be, and your time will come. If it's not coming quick enough for you, talk to the people who book the matches, not the wrestlers, and certainly not me or anyone else involved with the Update Desk. Someday you may get your title shot, but you won't get it interrupting this production. You may not like what I have to say, and I may put the bass in my voice when you attack me and my production team. Journalists don't always have to be unbiased when the truth begs to be screamed. And here's the truth, Hollis. You are making an ass of yourself. That's my opinion, but I'm right. We want to know what you think. Comment down below, click the like button, and subscribe. That's it for the Update Desk. For more information, follow me on Twitter. So long.